Okay, next we're going to hear from Herb Stokes, an old-time friend of the series and previous feature. Herb Stokes.
Is this about right? And this is a good subject for tonight. It's called Glen Cove Beach, because it's rainy and cold outside, and beaches are warm and dry. I think. Glen Cove Beach. Before time was captured and rendered into bits too small to contemplate, then released 1/1000th at a time inside a computer keeping count, I distended time while lying under shade trees on a hill that overlooked the Long Island Sound. Eyes closed but awake to the sense of summer, the cool earth against my back, gentle waves petting the shore, leaves sighing in annoyance at a frolicking breeze. The odor of the bowels of the beach at low tide, children laughing, screaming, crying, laughing, beach birds bitching, the control sputter of a small yellow airplane scratching white words on the blue skyboard, dads with umbrellas and ice chests, following moms with kids, blankets, and brown bags. Summer and immortal us. All right, that's enough. Wasting time clapping. Just leave money on the floor. That's better than clapping any time. Memories of glass. My memories are made of colored glass, as pale and fragile as candlelight, as carefully crafted as the lie that whispers it is truth. Glass that has been ground by sea waves and scrubbed by sand, which softens the sharp edges of reality and smooths the truth until it mellows into tales that we can bear and not have nightmares made from our small lives. To stand in the shadow of ourselves and know the darkness of our nature, yet believe that the lie that heals is as valid as the truth that wounds. Thank you.
I'm happy that Herb is here, and also happy that Herb's wife, Miriam Stokes, is here. You might have noticed the beautiful book of Herb's writing that he was reading from that we celebrated here not too long ago. And this evening and the rest of this month, you can see the wonderful portrait of Herb that appears on the cover of that book that was painted by Miriam Stokes. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. It's a beautiful piece of work, and I'm so glad to see what the original painting looks like. So just wanted to acknowledge her. Yeah, it's wonderful. And you should talk to Herb about getting a copy of the book. It's massive, and as you know, if you've been coming to Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic, filled with great stuff. And next it's going to be, it's my pleasure to invite to the mic another tall poet who is going to be our feature next month. So if you come back on February 8th, you can see Dane Deloitte.
That's about right. First of all, I'd like to thank all the other poets that came out and read. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We need it. I'm going to do 4 small pieces. These are all going to be featured in the book that I'll hopefully have next month called Plumes from the Village. This is called Beset. Hello came from beneath my tongue, only to be ignored, the last served. Listening to the nerve of him to think that he should be served. Word servant, savant with the stench and the raunch. Bet the ranch and stand a cheer on your haunches. It appears I'm the only one who's come to run the gauntlet. The Renaissance man's most rancid runs loose, lucid, and spits intrusive, abusive, and totally putrid music. As an artist, elusive. I'm the ex-radical squared, a cubist, but at best, I'm with butt-naked grooves. I'm a nudist. Straight from the mother's womb. It's not to be mentioned that they never included us till the money moment when the prize pride is on the line. And I'll just lay behind written words and unwind. Next is a poem I wrote from a prompt in Portland. It's called There, There. There, ease into the conversation, but they don't know what to say. We'll just satiate the palate, pause, then pop out with the most heinous declarations, and I quote, "How can the heating system and the air conditioning unit have the same vents? Aren't they polar opposites or just solar opposites or something? The remote control schedules our warmth sessions, but should the sun guide our day, guide our guise to disguise ourselves as not shade, not sun religion, just sun God, and all that rah-rah by the pagans? There. Pear, eat the sweet fruit quickly before it gets too bruised, or pushed to the discount table and never gets used. In its heart, it just wants to be a tree, and the juice is just a way to attract suitors to pass on the seed. There. The sun leaves them till they rot out of season. The moon shaded reflections of the arch-back howling beast within us, at least within us, being tough and made up of the right stuff, sailing the right ship to turn the other cheek with a stiff upper lip, triangulating as you look back to the back of your brain, baiting the direction of when you should trip, or when you should quip, or when you should fall behind, or when you should quit. There. I'm going quick, but I do have organic music, organic swag, and Ian Catone. He's got the shirt on, so if you're interested in any, thank you. If you're interested in any King swag paraphernalia, please let me know. Lost Songbird. When I fail, this was written in the work too. When I fail, I stomp on the floor and throw my hands up and flail. My banter is like a tantrum thrown by a gossamer hawk who got the mouse stuck in his throat and can't devote enough energy to fly straight and soar to the next field to find the next meal. I am also boxed in on Hungry's path, eating the muddy dirt pie's meat, a farmer's pass to fertilize and bring the hay in a bale at a time, to fill their barn and abide to your grind. The hunters gather and the gatherers mine the field. Souls fly over on a songbird quill. The song I forgot was proud and prolific and long and extensive and disturbing and pensive. I knew the music wasn't right because I played it wrong that night in a crowd that needed light. I was intrinsic far too long. This song I long for in the dark, to be understood, brooding over violence. The song the lost songbird sang can only be heard in silence. And the last piece, it ties in to the technology theme that Scott had with the Bitcoin and Frankenstein. It's called Mind Spun. Find a post, maybe a totem, turn off the computer, unplug the modem. My computer intuits too well. I need only to think a thought, and this advertiser picks up the pattern, giving me the cacophonous nudge for the money. Begrudgingly, I give up money that is not mine. Temporary power displacement. I was looking at prison time, and now I look adjacent. They want the credit line quickly. Finally, I get credit for mine, and my hindsight says I should pay them no mind and give them no time, but They burst pixelated through the antithesis of my premeditated matrix, masked ID flask for badgers who grasp at my newly cultured savage bask in the radiation of my monitor screen. I know not who is benefiting from my being numb, humming muted hymns that are not moot for the deaf, dumb, and blind, and how they took the sensations that I thought were mine and made me stay silent on the streets like a mime's smile, or clown's tear, or white man's paranoia, or black man's fear. They ante up the masses to keep our intellect down. Confusion, brain filter contusion, not able to tell reality versus illusion, and subterfuge in G minor to major in the market flux is free, but it's in flux as morality passed through the guts as dysentery, sickening but elementary, beneficial vomit that stains your shoes as you look for a comet amongst shooting stars beyond glass ceilings from behind bars. We are all slaves on display only a few years, a fleshly gallery in the gallows, equipped with rage as we all go down with the ship. Thank you.
So as I said, Dane will be our guest, our featured reader next month, February 8th. I have flyers for that up here if you want a reminder, or if you have some place where you feel like you can help us spread the word about the reading, we would appreciate it. And next we're going to hear from Charles Walsh. Charles out there somewhere. Come on up, Charles.
Wow, there's so much tonight. I just have 28 lines, 280 syllables.
Would you like to use the mic?
Yeah. Can everybody hear? Thanks.
Don't worry, I'm a professional.
All right. So this poems came about because I have some problems with my eyes from a car accident. So one looks over there, one over there, and my brain is really busy deleting everything from this one. So that's where this came from. And I was going hiking or snowshoeing, but I had to write this poem, and so I got started late. So that's what these two poems are about. For clarity and focus we depend upon both orbs, whose lenses with the brain must mentally interpret and maintain, and our balance in a world dreams would pretend. The inner ear and touch too contribute, and when such fail, we nauseous and inept may stumble through a world where once we leapt. To find hope fails when we're left destitute. For most, haven't mechanics silent served? Love's contradictions patently absurd, as we, from tales unlikely told and heard, may sometimes wake to find ourselves unnerved. Among all fools confused on earth's blue face, each one retains their magnet and its trace. And so the next one, I got myself into a fix because I started late and missed my way in the woods. And so I got to be in the snow at night, and it was clear. It was glorious, but it was a little unnerving. I spent an extra couple hours. Beneath Orion's belt, and oral white, compact, though puffed mid darker stands, erect. In silence evident, I now suspect few others trek this clear midwinter's night. What was presumed is not. And with each stride, I'm harrowed by surprising solitude. While gazing on the vast gapes in gratitude eccentric, while surrounded, I abide. Fear's servant now, in noting we have strayed into the unfamiliar and unfaced, where longitudes and latitudes misplaced remain with all eternities conveyed. When we're at risk, each one may recognize, while these hearts beat, our life is a surprise. Thank you.
Careful back there. Sorry, just doing some house cleaning here. So next we're going to welcome back someone who has read here before, but it's been a while, and she's one of the people whose poems now appear on the C-Tram buses all throughout Clark County, so we'll be celebrating her on Sunday at the library. And please welcome back to Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic, Angela Winfield.
Hello. Hi. Suppose I have to get started.
Would you like to use the mic?
I don't know if I want to use the mic, actually. Can you guys hear me? Mm-hmm. Is that better? No. Okay. Speak by the mic. Right by the mic, then. All right, that's what I was afraid of. Aha, that's good. Whoa. Let's have a cup of coffee first.
They don't fight.
Right, so they're all really short. I brought a few of them to practice for Sunday. The one that I wrote for the bus, there's two versions, and I like them both. I'll sing the first. I won't sing. Dear God, I'll sing. It's called In Between. This is In Between. Oh, yeah, that's the title. Okay. It's in the gray spaces between the yin and yang, where fresh waters meet the sea, brackish and sweet, the sonnets we sing. Did you guys hear? Okay. That's the version that was published on the bus. Originally, it was different, and I like that part just as well. It's in the gray spaces between the yin and yang, the estuaries of self-efficacy embraces, brackish and sweet, the sonnets we sing. Okay, they're short, and I'm going to keep doing it, right? Because one day I won't be spitting up here.
You're doing great, Angela.
That wasn't me. So this was a prompt from my poetry professor, Tobias Peterson, in Clark College, and he said to explain what poetry is, and I had to write it in a poem. To me, poetry is a vocabulary catalyst, a gateway drug, a binary train on a circuit with two speeds, stop and go. The breadth and depth of learning to breathe permission to take up space, to scream poetry. She is my validation. Yeah, it's another short one. What might have been. Still believing in a connection. Shakti and Shiva become one type of affections. A war between dreams and contentment, fights between the sheets, the mattress of dark peace, and the resentment of what might have been, what it is, and what it isn't.
Okay, so I'm about to do something that's a little bit unusual. We have a lot of people who are new this evening, and one of the reasons that we're here is because I hate rules. I don't like rules very much. So you might have noticed there's not a lot of rules involved. So I want to get a show of hands of people who are like in the room who are hoping to read, who are not on the list that I have before me, just to get a sense of what's going on, because I don't know. Okay. All right. So what I want to do for one time only is invite those people to come up and read one. If they could read one piece each, I think we'll get out of here at a decent time. Would that be fair enough to get you in here? And to let you know for next time, because I know that some of you weren't aware of this, that what we decided to do, because we often stretch late into the evening, is to only allow people to get here before we begin at 7 to sign up. So keep that in mind for next time, and we'll just go about one by one, starting with Russ. Russ, if you have one you want to share with us, you can be our first.
What I want to do is, I like to blind read sometimes, so not my president. Do you have that?
Oh, what's that? Oh,
A
yeah.
blind read. Somebody give me a number between 1 and, what is it, 500 or something?
42. 42. Best number ever.
Beautiful
Very
number.
beautiful, very beautiful. Forever. You're nicer than fish.
Yeah, I went to High-End one night, and you guys were closed. December 11th or something like this for a Christmas party. So I ended up at Main Street. So I paid attention to it during the big hype, okay, and all of that. Even though it is nice, it's clean, it's interesting and organized, it still feels like it's a porn shop or something with the frosted. I love the bungalow house.
Russ, you should write a poem about Main Street. Write a poem about both of them. Write a poem about the pot shop.
Maybe, but my helper, who then, it's so weird. If you haven't been there, go there once just to experience it. They give you this little widget and they say, this is like, and I said, like Olive Garden. Yeah, this thing will vibrate when it's my time to go over there to that window. But anyways, something about the number 42 showed up in that interaction, and I got to educate this, 20-something-year-old about it as briefly as you can introduce Douglas Adams and the question, and I don't know. Anyways, you can't initiate the uninitiated in 2 sentences on that one. But. So page 42. Okay, it's from some longer bits here. All right, here we are. A few weeks before Vegas, I was in Seattle visiting an old friend. The naked micro-penis, Donald Trump statue had just landed on Capitol Hill. It was still September and there was time. You could register, you could get a passport. Maybe we could all be better. Do you have to come back up here for the holidays? He asked after we'd finished shots. I think so, but Christmas is going to be weird this year. So close to the wedding and everything. My sister was getting married in January. People were still marching forward, making plans for 2017, as if seasons would keep unspooling. Like life went on. We're all going to be broke, and I don't have any time off. I was using it all up on vacations. Glacier National Park, Disneyland, Las Vegas. 2016 would be a contender for best year of my life. If I weren't so panicked, it would be my last. But you'll all be on the same page at least, he said. Yeah. The liquor slicked my tongue just enough to let loose what I knew better than to speak. I've been thinking about the holidays and how special I want it to be. Like, get out all my decorations and bake all my favorite cookies and just try my best, you know? Because maybe it's going to be the last one we have. Jesus, you're scaring me. I apologized. I should know better.
I'm not sure who that
I think that's good.
I think that's Tabitha Blackenbiller.
Tabitha Blankenbiller. So I was fortunate enough to read with Tabitha Blankenbiller in Portland. She's great. You should check her out. That's a prose piece from Not My President. Really great. So this is one of the reasons I use a list is because I don't know. Gentleman in the blue hat at the back, please come forward and introduce yourself to the Ghost Town crowd.
Thank you. My name is John Kurtica.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for everybody coming out. So this one is about TV. And thanks for not watching TV and coming out here instead. I thought I grew up watching TV. Now I think it was watching me. A babysitter for my baby sister, my brother, and me. While my mother was sound asleep, she worked the night shift so she could pay the bills and buy the groceries. TV is in my DNA. I cough up commercials like fur balls. I'm nervous without a purpose. I need a glowing rectangle so I can focus. Why don't the 1-hour episodes of my life get resolved? I'm beginning to wonder, what does life involve? If I go out that door, I'll miss my show. I don't have TiVo. The remote control stole my attention span. I'd rather sit than stand. I'm a real sports fan. The moss I gathered is in my bones. While my brain was being exposed, my neglected perception stiffened up and froze. When I sing to my bathroom tile, I imagine it's vital to win the title of American Idol. My inner child died trying to put a smile on Simon Cowell. The contestants put all their eggs in one basket. You'd think their ovaries were about to get blasted. And the show was a ticking female clock, a time bomb that will go off if they don't make it past the chopping block. The TV provides something bright, like the flickering firelight prehistoric man used to watch at night. My routine is based around my favorite shows. I'd be spaced out, but my brain has no room to grow. My head is filled with last night's episodes. We have a common exchange like dollars and cents. We can talk about George and Elaine and how our time gets spent. That's how it gets spent. Thank you.
The theme. Come on up, sir. In the back on the other side. This is great. Now it's like an auction or something like that. So. Poetry, 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 poetry.
My name is Chris Arcus, and I know that gentleman back there, so you know I got to be at least partly crazy. So I'm not going to read from here. I'm just going to read something or say something. I was feeling guilty about having a day off from work, and because I took the day off over Halloween and went to the beach, so this is what happened. It's called Naked Jellyfish. I am a naked jellyfish, cast awash the seashore surf, translucent glimmering mass, quivering in anticipation of random bits of nutrient, contradiction to the impending desiccant sun, happy to take a day off work to lie on the beach.
Yeah, thank you. And the other person who gets introduced often in the following fashion, as Lori did, as being one of our regulars from the very beginning, is our friend Jim Martin. So Jim's going to come up and read one to you now.
One short one. But I need glasses for it.
Jim, I saw you at Mona Me today, but I didn't say hi to you because you were writing. I didn't want to interrupt.
Okay, thank you. I would like to talk. Yeah. Just one. Something I've been thinking about for a long time. And I've got a tentative title, Particles in the Void. Particles, dust in the void, their mass beckons to other particles, begin to gather. Why do they seek company? Attract others. Now, move faster, accelerate, collide in one place, forceful, implode, explode, energized, move back into the void, attract, collect, choreograph dancing galaxies, life. Interesting that love and caring should emerge from dust which dance through the void to precipitate the universe.
Now we're going to have our secret weapon, spy in the Kenton neighborhood. Dennis McBride, come up and read something to us.
He's coming. Here he comes. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
New Year, right?
They say so.
Happy New Year.
Once you're ready to start reading, make sure you use the mic, okay? So people can hear what you
thank
do.
you.
Yeah. Just swing it to you and you'll be able to be heard.
I went to a convention, a Bigfoot convention. And anyway, I got a poem out of it. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfect.
It's called The Exile for Bigfoot. What if you did not have a name, did not know it? What if you could not understand the heart's desire that had to follow its fire to the dark forest of the night's wire? What if you were naked with hair, pushed everywhere always by the sudden rush of fear's red flare? What if you do not know how to rub sticks together to make a flame? What if your mind was only half, could only follow its vague thoughts under a dim trail of dim stars? But say your half mind half whispered something, a halfway there by the lakeside. Say there was a half sense that the bird's high flight half said something about something farther and wide. What if your half mind half knew you were going somewhere, that you were halfway there on the snowy ground in the deep ravine where your mate lay for days cold and still, You're half heart, half sorrow, frozen and it's half bitter. It's kind of dark. You should start out with something happier. The messenger. This is for Princess, what's her name, Di?
That's the one.
Thank you. She had to talk to us to tell us about our search for jewels and the crown, about it leading to the wrong person, about marrying the wrong person, having children with the wrong person. She had to tell us you don't have to point at the wound from the carriage. You can stop the carriage, get out, touch the wound with yours. She had to tell us about giving back the ring, laying down the jewels and the crown, leaving our children to the world, then leaving the world. She had to tell everyone, all of us at once. Another dark one too, it's too bad. Something happier. Redbird. Your first girl was an Indian, Redbird. You felt her feeling your boy's hand on her brown nipple, while Kennedy was inaugurated on her bedroom TV, his hand on the Bible. 3 years later, she cut your brave heart out, an old Indian trick. 35 years and Redbird has found you again, shopping in a produce aisle between the laundromat and the grave. She sees you and looks at you, then looks through you, pushing her cart ahead to red tomatoes. Redbird opens your chest again, through the sternum, and inserts the sharp red announcement. Did you think it was over, that I would not find you? Did you think I could forget you, you who were so dear to me? Trespass on my private property, find the night garden of desire. You whose ache was just now subsiding. All this time you thought you were lost. I better just quit while I'm ahead. These are all really dark. I didn't intend that. I wanted to balance it out. Okay. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Dennis, and I want to also say thank you to Scott. We didn't introduce Scott tonight, but we should have. So, poets of all ages, sizes, and experience levels are, like uptight and weird and awkward about microphones. Microphones freak us all out. I mean, even if you've been doing it for years, it freaks you out. So we're fortunate to have Scott here to help us fuss and get the mic where it needs to be. I appreciate that, and I'm sorry that I didn't introduce you earlier. And some people don't know this, but all of the microphones that we've used since we've had a mic, and we didn't have a mic when we started, were donated by somebody. And right now the microphone stand, I believe, came from Scott, and we have donated sound from Brislone and guitar. So let's support those folks that are supporting Ghost Town. And Tiffany, yes. I forgot about her because she's being so quiet because she's under the weather like me, but our videographer, Tiffany Burba, she's the one making sure that all your friends can see us on the interwebs. And this is a really important thing for me personally because all my family is on the East Coast, so the only way that my family can see what I'm doing here is through these videos that Tiffany's making, so we really appreciate it. Okay, so I have two for you to say goodnight, and I'll be honest with you, I think one of the reasons why open mics exist is to try out stuff. It's like free rehearsal space, and so this is really a work in progress. It's an important poem to me, but I'm not sure that it's finished, so yeah. And it's called America, Turn Your Love Lights On for Betty Jane Willis. Yeah. This nation neglects, then promptly forgets her artists, leaving them to fend for themselves. Leaves even our soul singers to die on these streets. Left Betty Jane Willis to be assaulted and murdered. I think it's Willis, I'm sorry. Left Betty Jane Willis to be assaulted and murdered on New Year's Day near the strip mall where she made her bed on 2nd Street and Forest Avenue in Santa Ana. Betty, who recorded My Tears Will Go Away with righteous brother Bill Medley in 1963, a duet that was never released, who made music with Leon Russell, covering Act Naturally, a Buck Owens tune first covered by the Beatles, with the pianist and Wrecking Crew member Leon Russell, her last recording, 1968's Ain't Gonna Do You No Good. And one of the reasons that it's still a mess and all over the place is because I'm pissed about it. Betty never had a hit, but didn't look back, just went on with life, leaving the business to raise her daughter Stephanie on her own, singing along with her Walkman at the post office for decades before taking early retirement in the 90s. Stephanie Walker, that's her daughter, remembers. She did want a singing career, but she would always talk about how hard the music business is, how it was a crazy business. She just wasn't up for what you would have to go through, the partying life. She just wasn't that type of person. Fellow Santa Ana resident Medley remembers her as a sweet little girl and a hell of a talent, a sweet woman who valued her privacy. Betty sometimes stayed with her daughter in Riverside. Betty turned down many offers of a place to stay and wouldn't take your money. Did drugs, had a stroke, but was back in good health at 76. She slept beneath a covered walkway around the corner from the Southwest Community Center and across the street from the Bristol Station Post Office, a safe spot where they left the lights on, safe until it wasn't. Geraldo Rodriguez, the son of the owner of La Amigra Fabric, didn't know she was a singer until after she died. Decided to check out a couple of her songs on YouTube. Despite her lack of shelter, Betty made sure her nails and hair were done, kept her spot clean. A monster took her, tore her blanket away and attempted to rape her, punched and choked her as she screamed for help. The police arrived to find the monster on top of her, his pants at his knees. He ran off but was quickly captured. Betty was unresponsive, another forgotten siren. She died at the scene, another casualty of our capitalist nightmare. So I take what happens to our what happens to our artists personally, and I feel like I take rape personally when it happens to anybody. But I mean, then to think about also the whole issue of how we do such a shitty job of supporting and helping people making beautiful things in the world. Angry about it. I'm not sure it's a good poem yet, but I'm going to keep massaging it until we figure it out. So this is an anthology that was published in recently. It's a Bellingham anthology. I love this. It's called 9 Lives Later, a Dead Cat Anthology. So I thought, I'm a person who really doesn't like cats very much, and I basically think they're evil, so I thought it was a perfect thing for me. So I looked through all my poems that might have something to do with cats, and this is the one that they liked enough to put in there. So what's cool about reading this one to end things tonight is that this is from my long poem about Ridge, which is the town on Long Island where I grew up. So here, it's for you, Herb, my fellow Long Island boy in the room. Establishing shot, Randall Road. Slow Blossom returned to bicycle races and dirt bombs. Alliances formed without expectations. Nothing to do but wait and explore. 1,000 discoveries in a single hour spent running through the wood. Eyes shut tight, it's easy to remember. The universe embodied in a pebble, embedded in the asphalt, viewed through speeding bus window. Muddy lakes and roof shingle fights. Long Island, a playground with Indian names which meant nothing. Yapank, Panamoka, Matatuck, Quag. Little to indicate these hills had once belonged to others, except a brief unit in school on the Iroquois our parents hadn't time to teach us. So we spent much of our time with animals, mostly dead ones. Run-over cat, slowly decomposing, less and less of him left each morning as we shuffled our freezing feet in anticipation of the school bus. Mangled raccoons beneath trees by the lake, unbelievably soft, empty. Tadpoles dropped on hot asphalt, intestine tendrils exposed. Arrive at the site of our new home, age 6, new development, dirt streets yet to be paved, a suburb in the desert surrounded by miles of forest, Ridge, not quite idyllic refuge from the city. No one wanted to live in the city, but the shade of trees could not hide the skeletons they'd tucked away in the aluminum shed. I saw fire, I smelled death, heard rock and roll for the first time. Crimson and clover, over and over, and suffered white trash cruelty, sins of the father visited upon the playmate of the son. We lived in terror, our parents had no idea. On our first day, Dad killed a garter snake with a shovel, man of the house. Modiani's hideous, long-faced woman Raven upon her lap, stared at me from her space on the wall with malicious intent. I knew not what her stare foretold, but similar horrors awaited me beneath the basement stair. I remember constant screaming, too damn many of us, family meetings, flying coffee mugs, swinging pool sticks, neighbors wielding aluminum baseball bats, yet an odd sense of community. I remember leaves, endless insects skittered across asphalt, bats' silhouette at dusk, July 4th barbecues, snowmen and ice angels, wanting it all to stop. So that's in 9 Lives Later. And the editor of the anthology, Dee Chapman in Bellingham, Washington. So if you go up there to Bellingham, say hi to Dee for me. We might at some point try to do a reading for it down here if we can get her down here. So I want to say thank you to Neil Aitken for his beautiful book and wonderful readings. To Tony, my co-host and partner in crime, Truth and Beauty, Scott, Tiffany, and Leah Jackson, who's back there. So if you haven't settled up your bill, make sure you do that before you go. And join us again on February 8th, when Dane Deloy will be our feature here. I hope you can be here with us. Oh, one more thing. There's a Monday edition of The Work, that workshop that people were talking about. So if you can only come in the evenings, Monday, January 29th, I'll be doing a Monday night version of it. Yeah.
What time Sunday at the library?
Oh, 12:30 to 2:30 at the library for the Poetry Moves event.
Downtown?
Yeah, right over here, C Street and Evergreen. Thanks, everybody.